welcome back to the podcast, and this is week 2 of me doing this. So, and I think this week will probably be about high school memories. Shout out to Brock for giving me that suggestion, and I'll tell you, there's quite a bit of some stories of high school. So for those of you who don't know, I went to Salina South High School, freshman all the way to senior. I graduated at 2020. It's not the best year to graduate in, but the most interesting year to graduate. But I guess I'll start from freshman year. I remember freshman year we just got under construction before the new buildings were in. I remember all the pods. I don't know if any of you that went to South High, but we had like the pods, which is basically like this whole circular area. The whole circle is just like just outlined with classrooms along the outside, and there's some classrooms in the inside. But then there was just like a hallway that just went around that whole pod, and we had like 3 of them. Yeah, and then there was like 3 pods. We just got under construction with the new gym, which is usually the gym nowadays is we would call the big gym. And I remember, like, as soon as I went in, there was just this big lunchroom that only the OGs remember, where all those lessons are learned and some of the fights that happened there. Just normal stuff in that cafeteria. I remember it being so huge, and you got all these pillars in the middle trying to hold up the ceiling because it was so open. But yeah, that whole 4 years that I was in high school was basically just a before and after construction, and I definitely saw the whole change of the building because of in my freshman year, if you looked on like Google Maps or Google Earth, and you look at Salina South High School, the whole building would look like a key because of the 3 pods, and then there'd be a long strip of a building just extending outwards and all that. It would be shaped like a key. Nowadays it doesn't. It doesn't look like a key anymore. It's just a modern building now. But that would be a legacy to remember, a memory. Freshman year, I was just getting out of middle school. I had a strong passion for guitar. Never had a girlfriend at that moment. I had never been in a relationship or anything. I was just new to the food chain. Being a freshman is kind of weird, and you're seeing all these grown-ups. And so, like, I was just new to the food chain, like, of people, because you got all these grown-ups, and it's kind of weird to see all these grown-up people. And when you're a freshman, you try to behave, and but you try to just be you. But then again, you came out of middle school, so you're still kind of like in the immature phase ish, and then you meet all these older people, and you're like, I don't know. So you just try to behave as best as you can. For me, like I said, I'm an introvert, so I don't really talk to anybody except for the ones that that I transitioned with from middle school. And then we just went from there. The classes, I'm gonna be honest with you, I hated English sophomore year and freshman year. I just hated English, I don't know why. But there was also a teacher that nobody liked that I had for 2 years straight, which is why I hated English freshman year and sophomore year. I don't know if those of you who remember being in at my school, I don't know if you all remember Mrs. Dawn, but she was the most hated English teacher freshman year and probably sophomore year as well. But I don't know what it is about her, but we just did not like her, and it was just not a good class to be in. I remember I almost flunked English because dead ass I was not as good as in English, and the teacher we had is just I don't know. It sucked, but I did pretty all right in the rest of my classes. But English it was a struggle. I hated being in that classroom. But freshman year, let's see, dances. I I was single as fuck. Let's be honest here. Uh, I only went to homecoming freshman year, not Sadie's. I think because there was no point in going in Sadie's after homecoming. But homecoming, I went with my boy Chandler, and we just did a duo and see what it was like to be at the school dance. Chandler, I don't know if you guys know Chandler, but Chandler was me and him we hung out a lot. We were best friends the whole. He was like the best friend of my high school year, or my high school career, because we both don't really talk to many people. We like to do a lot of fun stuff. We had a lot of things in common, and it was me and him that liked to ride our bikes a lot, and had the passion for motorcycles at the time. So that was awesome. But yeah, freshman year wasn't very eventful. I just had to get used to being in high school. But yeah, the I sophomore year was about the same. Um, we just kept doing what we're doing. Still have the passion for motorcycles, kinda. Um, and notice I haven't. Okay, so I'm a graphic design major in college, right? So I haven't taken any art classes freshman year or sophomore year, and usually everyone else would already be taking art and some sort of art class freshman year and sophomore year, but I haven't even taken an art class until junior year. So it was quite the change from there on, but I never took any art classes at the time, so I still wasn't into the moment of passion of designing and all that stuff until like after junior year. Sophomore year, I mean, okay, the whole high school career, I was an athlete. I did cross country since like eighth grade, and so I continued that legacy and throughout the high school years. So and so freshman year and sophomore year, I wasn't that good at cross country. I was like the skinniest one. I wasn't like built for trained for cross country. Like I was still new to the track and field kind of thing. But I was all right. But it was just a starting point, and it was the beginning of the high school career. So what could you expect? Sophomore year, I met. Okay, so it was me and Chandler, and we both met this girl named Alex. I don't know if you guys know Alex, based off my past, but her full name is Alexandria, but she goes by Alex because it just sounds better. It's shorter. But us three started hanging out a lot, and we met her in cross country because me and Chandler did cross country, and all three of us would be like hanging out and talking most of the time. And those were basically just the three people I talked with the most during high school. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to get to know Alex, specifically because the something with her happened junior senior year, but I'll get to that in like a minute. I remember sophomore year I made my own logo for Asian sticky rice. I took a type of class that involved graphic design, and I created my own logo, and it still looks the same to this day, except it doesn't have the background. But and it's surprising how I didn't really change the logo that much, because all it really did was have that line of lettering, and then some things in the background, but now I just got rid of the background. I just have the letters on there. So, and this was like 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And ignore the noise machine in the back, cause that's a printer. I'm in kind of like the teacher's lounge room, and they're just printing a bunch of shit in here, and it's gonna get thoroughly annoying. But anyways, it was funny. Sophomore year. Was it sophomore year or junior year? I think. Yeah, no, it was. Was it sophomore year? I think it was sophomore year. Yeah. Later that. Okay, so later that sophomore year. For homecoming and dance, or yeah, the dances, homecoming and Sadie's. Me and Chandler kind of found our match for a bit, and you know how me, Chandler, and Alex we would talk a lot. I actually started getting interested into Alex, and we both know we had a crush on each other, because I remember Valentine's Day specifically. It was just a little thing. It was just a little thing. I got Alex something for Valentine's Day, and she gave me something for Valentine's Day, and then from there on, I think we just started having a crush on each other. And Chandler, another girl named Diana, some blonde girl that I still talk to this day from time to time. But it was him and Diana. They started to have a little bond for the dances, and me and Chandler had our thing. We were just we were chilling. We got to experience what it's like to actually have someone like us and have a crush on somebody. And the goddamn printer is going off again. It's really annoying. But I'm just trying to get this video done. But yeah, that's kind of what sophomore year was pretty much. And classes were about the same. Still hated English, but I did better in other classes. And my passion was still relatively the same. Nothing really changed. I just know that we just met some more people, and I even had a crush on a girl, as well as Chandler. But sophomore year was also the beginning of my designing story. So because of that graphic design class, that was pretty much my first art kind of based class. Junior year was, I'm pretty sure everyone could agree with junior year. Junior year was the hardest year out of all 4 years of high school, because I just got a job before I started junior year, and I was at Subway, and that's when I started working at Subway. And I did sports at the same time, as well as doing a lot of homework, because junior year is just complete ass of a year. But yeah, I was doing all three things at once. But I was still going. I was still thriving a little bit, because I had a girl that had a crush on me. We were into each other. Unfortunately for Chandler, didn't work out well with him and Diana, so Chandler was just off on his own again. But me and him were still hanging out a lot. And this is also when we started band life, which is just me and him consisting of just playing instruments, because I play guitar and he did drums actually, and we would just jam in our free time whenever we had the chance, especially in the summertime. We had a lot of time to but yeah, it was a rough junior year. And people need to stop printing off shit, because this printer is really loud. Sorry, so oh god, I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying, bro? I can't even remember half the stuff I talked. But just busy schedule. Busy schedule. That's all junior year was. You know, in junior year, me and Alex were still into each other. Chandler was still on his own because Chandler is Chandler. He was an antisocial person. But that changed after high school, of course. But me and Alex got even closer. We weren't dating, and people started questioning it. I was like, relax, time comes. Okay. I was junior year. I was getting better at running. My sport. I started to become even better than freshman year and sophomore year. I started to become really, really good at running cross country and track. But I was still getting better, and I know senior year is probably going to get even better at this rate. Oh, is that what I was talking about? I think I was talking about that build. Yeah, the high school building. Yeah, they took down the pods. The new gym was built, and they were gonna make another gym. And they were in the process of building the new lunch, or the front entrance. There was just a lot of things going on, and then there was wow, there was just a lot of construction. Really, you were just going through hallways that didn't really have any air conditioning, so that if it was wintertime and you pass by the specific hallway, it'll get really, really cold, but then after you pass it, it'll get really, really warm. And it was just it was like walking through a freezer, just that hallway. But it was only like a couple meters of a tunnel of a hallway to walk through. So if you wanted to get some fresh air, you just walk through there and you would get whatever temperature it is outside. But it was janky. I remember junior year, I think it was like the second or third day of school, and the power went out that morning. Or no, I think that was that, and we had a gas leak. We had a gas leak on the second day of school, I'm pretty sure. And and I'm not sure if they canceled school early or we continued school. I think we canceled school early because because they held us up in the gym for like an hour or two, and there was a gas leak in like one of the pods or something, but they held us up in, like, all of us in the big gym for like an hour or two, and then they probably just decided to cancel school, and we were like, what the hell? But later the junior year, homecoming in Sadie's, it was me and Alex, still with a strong bond. We were just love being goofy. And then just to top it off, at the end of junior year, I finally got to ask Alex out and finally got to be in a relationship for the first time ever. And man, what the hell kind of accomplishment was that? Because man, my social status is so low, and the luck I have with girls is just unbearably low, and my luck is just not that good. But finally getting to ask Alex out for the first time was awesome, and it's crazy, and it's just the experience, learning, just a learning thing, at least I had somebody there. So going into senior year, finally relief that junior was over. Like, it was rough, so senior year was just a flyby because I only had like 2 difficult classes in senior year, because I took AP Physics, which is the more advanced version of just regular physics, and physics was easy. It was just spicy math, if we're being honest here. But we were we were just flying by through senior year, and senior year in cross country and track, I was at my pretty much my peak point of my high school career with the athletics because I was the second best cross country runner, or second to third. I was second. Yeah, I was probably like the third best cross country runner on my team, um, and I was kind of like a secondary leader for the team, just showing. I was basically setting a good example. I wasn't really like the speech kind of, true leader like a leader would have, but I would just let my hard work show for itself, and hopefully someone will follow my footsteps on why I work so hard. Me and Chandler were still hanging out senior year, and this is when we really got into cubing. I got into cubing junior year, and it got even better senior year. And this is when my hobbies start to shift from motorcycle to cubing and all this other stuff that I start to figure out. Senior year, I think, yeah, senior year I went to both dances, homecoming and Sadie's with Alex, of course. It was alright, dances, because me and Alex went to like 4 different dances together. It was awesome. This is also when COVID started hitting. It became noticeable throughout the first semester, but when it came to the second semester, this is when everything went downhill. Because don't get me wrong. Okay, so I went to 2 talent shows, junior year and senior year, and it was based off my cubing talent. And as soon as my second talent show was done, they started to cancel school because COVID became a really big issue, and so they canceled school for a whole month. And I guess you could say this was like the longest. This is like the longest spring break ever in history, because as soon as that talent show was done, we went into spring break, and then during that spring break, they started to announce that school's canceled for a whole month until they figure out what they're gonna do, schoolwork wise. And then it was really, it just felt different, just not going to school in the middle of spring for a whole month. But it really started to concern a lot of us because we all had to stay home because COVID was pretty much everywhere, and we didn't have a vaccine for it. So all you could do was just wear a mask or stay inside. And the next month, in April, me and Alex broke up, and I think it was definitely because the relationship was taken too seriously. It was definitely my fault. I wish I could go back to the days where it didn't happen, but then again, things change. Change is inevitable, but also, me and Alex, that was our first relationship, so it was definitely just a learning experience, I guess. I could say that would be an excuse of why we would break up, but this is definitely when we started changing, for real. So, not only I had to worry about how school's gonna handle COVID, but I also had to go through a breakup, and I had car problems at the time, so it was a rough finish to graduation for the rest of senior year, because the rest of senior year after April is school started back up, but it was only online. And so, I guess I spent a lot more time at home, so I started spending more time with my hobbies. I was definitely missing my friends as from school, because after that talent show, that was the last time we ever saw them in that building at the high school. And we never really got to see each other for graduation, because graduation, let's be honest, graduation was stupid, because they were going to initially have it at the Tony's Pizza Event Center, and they were gonna think about spacing out the chairs just for us to graduate, which they could have done. That's what happened next year for the class of 21. But no. Then they changed from Chinese Pizza Event Center to Central Stadium. And Central Stadium, you know how big the Central Stadium is. I'm pretty sure you could fit the whole class onto that football field. But they changed it again because they didn't think it was a good idea, apparently. They're going to change it to the high school, to the front entrance. But no one was going to be there. It was just going to be you, the staff, and that diploma with the stage. And you were just going to take a picture. That's it. You don't get to see any of your high school friends at all. The ones you haven't seen since literally the beginning of March. And you're just going to walk up on that stage, hold a diploma for like 5 seconds, take a picture, and then you're going to leave. That's it. You don't get to see anybody. No. And a lot of people didn't like that. But does the school district care? No, not really. They're just too scared, you know? I feel like they're too scared that, you know, the COVID's gonna get everywhere. But, you know, I'm just not gonna complain about it because all that matters is I graduated. I had my high school diploma. You know, I worked hard for that. And I was gonna go off into the new life of college. But I definitely miss my friends. I wish I would have been able to saw them when we graduated, or at least one last time before, you know, that shit happened. But literally the last time we saw him was literally that whole day, or that last week before spring break. And senior year, the school was finished. The school's done building. The whole new building looks right. You know, it looks fresh. You know, it was really nice to see the before and after of the high school. But I definitely missed the pause because those were the OG days. But, you know, it was run down. And, you know, renovating wasn't a bad idea. You know, our school has 2 floors now instead of 1. Because it used to only have 1. But those are high school memories, in my opinion. But yeah. So this was a long podcast, but this was my whole high school career. So when I walked out of high school, I walked out with no car, well, basically no car, no girlfriend, but I had a high school diploma and a future. But all of that started to change once I got into college, and we'll get to that in another podcast. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.